Hello, I'm Damon Bailey and it's great to see you again in the third video in our IELTS speaking series. In this video, we will look at part 3 of the speaking test, which is a discussion between you and the examiner. We will look at how to structure great part 3 answers and ways to practice that will help you to improve your speaking band score. So let's look at exactly what happens in part 3 of the speaking test. During part 3, the time will be controlled by the examiner. The questions that you get in part 3 are connected to the topic that you spoke about in part 2. These questions will allow you to discuss more abstract issues and ideas. If you don't understand a question the examiner has asked, then you can ask them if they can explain it to you in a simpler way. However, I recommend that you make sure you do not do this too much, and that you listen carefully to the question you're being asked. How should you answer part 3 questions? When you're doing part 3 of the IELTS speaking test, you should think of it as a conversation between two people. It is a discussion with the examiner, where you will share your personal opinion on a variety of issues. The most important thing to do during part 3 of the speaking test is to offer your opinion and to say what you think. The answers you give in part 3 should be longer than those you gave in part 1. It's great if you can also include examples when giving your part 3 answers. If you can offer potential solutions to different social issues, this will give you more things to talk about. And be sure to stay on topic and not to talk about things unrelated to the question. Here's my advice on how you can structure your answer when you're asked questions in part 3. Firstly, give an answer to the question that states your opinion or what you think. Then, give a further explanation as to why you believe this or hold this opinion. If you can, give an example or examples that support your argument. And you can also talk about opposing opinions or possible alternatives. Here's an example of a part 3 question and answer that's been created using the structure we just talked about. Are people spending too much time on the internet? Yes, I think people are definitely spending too much time on the internet on a daily basis. That's the opinion. I think we're becoming far too reliant on the internet and mobile devices to guide us in choosing places to shop, places to eat, and to assist in communicating with our friends. And that's a further explanation. In many countries, it has become a concern that modern technology and the internet can be addictive and is contributing to the worldwide obesity epidemic. That's an example of problems that may occur if you spend too much time on the internet. However, I can see how using the internet also does have its advantages in our fast-paced modern world. And that's a concession which shows opposing opinions or possible alternatives. Please remember though, the most important thing you can do during part 3 is to give your opinion and explain why you have that opinion. Part 3 is probably the hardest part of the speaking test to practice for, but here are some ways to practice that will not only improve your part 3 answers, but also your speaking in general. You can use sample IELTS questions and practice giving answers with a partner acting as the examiner. Ask your practice partner to take special note of whether or not you appear confident and if you talk clearly during your practice. Record your answers and listen back to see how you did when answering the questions. Look at a part 3 question and make a list of vocabulary that could be used when giving an answer. Also, check the meaning of any unfamiliar vocabulary in the questions. Then, try answering the question using words from your vocabulary list. Have a debate. Take opposing sides of a specific topic and argue your case. Discuss newspaper or magazine articles with a friend. Most importantly, give your opinion. Find social topics in newspapers or online and offer solutions for these social problems. Here are some important things that you should note for Part 3 of the speaking test. Try to relax and think of Part 3 as having a discussion with a friend. You want to try and speak as naturally as possible. Try to be confident during the test and make sure you speak clearly and at a volume that's easy to hear. The questions you are asked in Part 3 are those which will initiate a discussion and are generally not yes or no questions. In Part 3, you do not need to give information about yourself. It is a discussion relating to the topics in the question. So let's go back over the most important things you need to be doing to give great answers and improve your speaking band score. Initially, the most important thing to do is answer the question and give your opinion. For example, if the question asks, "Is looking after the environment important in your country?" you may say, "I think that protecting our natural resources has certainly become more of a focus for our nation within the last decade." Then you can give a further explanation as to why you think this. It's easy to see that people are beginning to get a greater understanding of the importance of caring for the environment so we can preserve it for future generations. Now you can give examples to support your argument or opinion. In more recent years, large areas of land have been classified as national park to help with the preservation of wildlife. There has also been an increase in green spaces and parkland within my city, and I'm definitely in favour of these new initiatives. And lastly, we can concede that there is another side to the argument and see both sides of the argument. I do understand that as society develops, more demand is placed on the land we have available. But we need to find ways to progress as a society that does not damage the environment too much. When you are giving your Part 3 answers, if you cannot think of examples or do not know what the other side of the argument is, then just make sure you answer the question and offer your opinion, and then try to give a further explanation as to why you hold this opinion. Finally, but by far the most important thing is that you need to practice. Practice is important for Part 3 because you may get questions on a wide variety of topics and you do not want to sound like you have memorized answers. Memorizing answers makes your speech sound much less natural and is very obvious to the examiner. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and please like and share this video and subscribe to our channel. If you would like to know more about us, please check out our website at IELTSwiz.com.